Hello, students. I hope all are well and safe. Today, we are going to start with our new reading selection called The Girl Who Married the Moon by Joseph Bruchac and Gail Ross. The main elements we are going to talk about are genre, the big question, reading strategy, and authors. Main elements. Number 1. The genre of the story is a myth. Do you guys know what a myth is? A myth is a fictional story. Long ago, many groups of people created myths to explain natural events as the action of gods and heroes. The big question: how does the sky influence us? The sky has always seemed to be big to people on Earth looking up. Many cultures have many myths about the sky, especially the night sky. Reading strategy. Read for enjoyment. Reading for enjoyment is really important because it gives you a purpose for reading and improves your ability to read for specific information. When you read for fun, you may learn new words and ideas you will see again in non-fictional texts. To read for enjoyment, you have to follow some steps. 1. Before you read, remember that your main purpose is reading for enjoyment. You will be learning too, but this is mainly for fun. 2. Pay attention to the characters, settings, and illustrations. Think about how they increase your enjoyment to the text. 3. Stop from time to time and think about the reason you enjoyed a particular passage or chapter. As you read The Girl Who Married the Moon, focus on the characters and settings. Ask yourself, how does the author make this fun, interesting, or exciting for me to read? About the authors. Joseph Bruchac grew up in upstate New York with his Native American grandparents, from whom he learned traditional stories in the art of storytelling. Today, in addition to writing and storytelling, he works to preserve the culture on his people, the Abenaki. Gail Ross learned the art of storytelling from her grandmother. Today, Ross writes about those myths and legends and shares them at schools and colleges across the country. Most often, she tells the stories of her father's people, the Cherokee. Ross is directly related to John Ross, who was the chief of the Cherokee Nation during the Trail of Tears. Literary words. What is a myth? It is a short fiction tale. Myths explain the origins of elements of nature. The purpose is to entertain and to instruct. Every ancient culture has its own methodology that is passed from one generation to another as a part of the oral traditions. Personification. What is a personification? It is the act of giving human qualities to objects or non-human animals. An example is, the wind whistled throughout the day. Now let's talk about some academic words. We have ignore, instructed, duty, restricted, cousin, tattoos, elders, kayak, patient, board, wander, poke, storeroom, quarter, suspicious, and cycle. You can find these definitions in your book. Now let's talk about the summary of the story. These tales are from native North America. According to the Alatuq legend, the moon is a man who wears different masks every night. The girl discovers the secret when she's carried to the sky world to become the moon's bride. At first, she is lonely. Her husband works every night and sleeps in the day, leaving her bored. In her new home, there are no friends, just star people. These men have a single eye in the center of their foreheads and peer down to earth through the cloud. One day, the girl discovers her husband's mask, hidden in a special storehouse. She places one of the beautiful carvings against her face, and it sticks. She cannot remove it. When the moon returns, he comforts his wife and invites her to work with him lighting the night sky, a job they have done together since. Now, I want you guys to watch this video.
The Girl Who Married the Moon, a traditional story from Kodiak Island. Produced by the Alutiiq Museum, the Kodiak Island Borough School District, with support from the First Nations Development Institute.
Kuyana, Kuyana, te wakuda, Kuyana, Kuyana, te luchi, Damchi, Damchi, Chami Wagu, Aniduga, Nunya Men, Kuyana, Kuyana, te wakuda, Kuyana, Kuyana, te luchi, Damchi.
Once, long ago, when Alutiiq people lived in sod houses and traveled the world by kayak, a girl and her cousin fell in love with the moon. Every evening when the moon shone his lovely light upon their village, the girls went to the beach. Sitting beneath the shelter of a kayak, they spent the night staring lovingly at the changing shape of the moon.
Help me move the kayak. I can't move it myself. Look, he's way over there now.
As the moon moved, the girls moved their shelter, following his journey across the sky. Every night as they gazed at the moon, each girl claimed that she would be his wife.
I love the moon. I'm going to marry the moon.
Every morning, when the girls returned to their home, their parents questioned their behavior. "Where have you been? What were you doing?" they asked. The girls replied that they had watched the moon until dawn, when he left the sky.
Kuyana, Kuyana.
One evening, the girls were playing on the beach with their friends. As night fell, the young people returned to their homes, but the girls remained to enjoy the glowing moonlight. As they watched the sky, however, the moon disappeared. He had not dipped behind a cloud, nor had he passed below the mountains, for it was still nighttime. He was simply gone. Disappointed, the girls began to complain.
Where is he? Nani ihaluk.
A voice interrupted their bickering,
I'm right here.
and suddenly the moon appeared before them. The girls gasped. Standing on the beach was a handsome young man wearing a dark mask. Startled, the girls began to fix their hair nervously, but the moon spoke calmly.
Yes, I love you. No, I love you.
Angered, the cousins glared at each other. The moon laughed at their quarrel and explained that he needed a patient girl for his wife, one that could bear the hard work he must complete each day. He offered to test the girls to see who was the most patient.
I will take the one who is more patient. Close your eyes.
As they closed their eyes, the moon walked up to the girls and wrapped his hands around their long dark hair. Holding one girl in each hand, he rose swiftly into the sky, taking the young women with him. One of the girls could not keep her eyes closed and peeked just a little. At that moment, she fell from the moon's grasp, loosing her hair and tumbling down. She landed safely on the beach below. The other girl, who was more patient, kept her eyes tightly shut. In the morning, she found herself in a comfortable sod house. It was the moon's home.
This is my house. That chick-chawak behind it is my storehouse. Please don't go in it.
For many days, the patient girl lived happily as the moon's wife. The moon often slept during the day and worked during the night, but he also left the house at many other times. He was gone often, leaving the girl alone, never offering to take her on his travels or explain his work. Each time he left, the moon wore a different mask. After a time, the girl became lonely and sad. She did not understand where her husband went and why he left her behind. Some days the girl wept. Other days she was angry. She begged her husband to give her a job or to let her help him with his work, but he refused.
I chaka chamai.
Oh, why?
Enough.
Enough. I have had enough of this. You go out at all hours and leave me here. I am lonely.
I have hard work to do.
If it's so hard, why can't I help? I could do it, and then I can see my cousin.
No, you can't help. It's my job to take care of you.
What's my job then?
Can't you find something to do?
Fine. I'll find something to do up here.
Her unhappiness upset him, so he agreed that she should leave their home to explore the sky world as she pleased. He made just one request.
Okay, but don't go into that chick-shack there.
He asked her to never enter his storehouse, a sod house that lay a short distance behind their home. That evening at sunset, the moon and his wife left their home. He too traveled the night sky, and she too explored the sky world. She opened the door and slipped into the cool, dark storehouse. In the far corner of the room, a curtain of woven grass hung from the wall. Tiny glimmers of light shone from beneath its edges. Curious, she pulled back the curtain. Hanging on the wall were the most beautiful masks she had ever seen, each in a different moon shape. There was a full moon, half moon, quarter moon, and many crescent moons. The mask of the nearly full moon was particularly lovely. After admiring it for some time, the girl lifted it to her face. The mask made her feel pretty, but when she tried to take it off, it would not budge. She pulled and pulled, but she could not free the mask from her face. Scared of her husband's anger, she ran home and buried herself in bed, the mask still covering her face. When the moon came home the following morning, he found his wife in bed, covered by her bearskin blanket and in pain.
Chamai, what is the matter? Why are you in bed?
My face hurts.
Hinan?
Yes, my face.
Pulling the blanket off his wife, the moon discovered that one of his masks was stuck to her face. Although the girl expected him to be angry, for she had deceived her husband and entered his storehouse, he was kind and helpful. He took the mask off her face and handed it back to her.
You are so pretty.
But I am so bored. I need something to do. The stars won't play. You always work.
You want to work?
I want to, and I want to see my cousin.
The moon took a moment to consider his wife's request. He looked at the beautiful mask in her hands and at her beautiful face, and then he offered to share his job.
Since you chose this one, you wear it. From now on, I'll begin the month and go around until the full moon, and you will finish it. We will share the hard work.
I like that.
Since that day, there have been 2 moons, a husband and wife who share the hard work of lighting the night sky. The husband begins each month, working until the time of the full moon. Then his wife takes her turn, traveling the sky so her beloved husband can rest.